Ah, yes. What's up? This is yours truly, Carcino here, and let's talk about it. Now, if you come to my channel, you've seen this iconic picture with me with the sunglasses, with the thumb on my chin, and that's taken in, out of the old Suge Knight photo out of the Death Row, which was one of the most iconic photo shots we had seen. I mean, seriously, this was like one of the most iconic like magazine covers for hip hop, period. That that Death Row, that vibe cover was it. I mean, seriously, that was like everybody bought that out. This is before Wi-Fi, this is before XXL didn't even exist yet. This was it. It was vibe and the source. So if you ain't had a source, you definitely had the vibe. Other those Black Beat magazines, all those, that was in the 80s, they kind of faded out. Because this is the way you found out what was going on with your artist or the people that you knew. You had to have the magazines if you wasn't, in the mix. So people could disappear and you really wouldn't even know unless the magazine covered it. So it was pretty much what it was at that time. And Tupac was just a spark plug for energy. And everything was going into Tupac's project since October. So everybody's, focus is let's get Pac album out quick because whatever we working on, it's all scrapped. And Tupac is the main concern right now. Well, if you're looking at what was going on at that time when they came to do the interview, the Bob interview that was done with Kevin Powell. Kevin Powell was the first guy to ever cover Snoop that anybody knew. So Pac kind of took him on and it's like Kevin Powell's gonna be my guy now. When he got there, like Kevin Powell's gonna be the guy I'm gonna be glued to the most, and you know, and that's who I'm gonna trust to handle all my stuff. And once Death Row trusts you, you know, you in the door as family. So that's how Kevin Powell got in there to do the actual, the interview and everything else. And Kevin Powell was the one to reveal certain things that he saw, while other people chose not to do it. Now, this was supposed to be a magazine interview covering Tupac because it was supposed to come out right before the album is released. The magazine dropped, then the album dropped. So it's all about Tupac. Death Row wanted to make sure that this turned into a Death Row piece where everybody's involved. So it became like a mission. And Ken, that was Death Row's like they in-house photographer. You know, he was the Jewish guy from New York. So he was working with Modern Black Man magazine that he did in the 80s. So he would follow them everywhere and start taking pictures, whether it was Snoop. So a lot of his pictures are all over the place. Now, it was crazy, man. It was like everywhere they went, it was like a scene that you couldn't even fathom. So anyway, he shot all the photos, for the magazine, and he wanted to send them over to print, and they had another guy to do that. Vibe's lead art direction for the magazine was ready to take them, but everything was unusual with them. And Vibe, opted not to send its own photo unit to California, but rather working with Death Row with what they sent back. And they came up with an agreement with, regards to wardrobe and style semetics and all that stuff, because Vibe was afraid. They didn't want to send out a gang, type of feel with having them all decked out in red and all this stuff. That could send off a chain reaction. So everybody agreed to wear black, but the titles had to be in red. All of these things had to be negotiated. So the photo unit didn't come out to California. They had to send the photos in and send the photos, and then they'll choose how they wanted to do them. So Rom, the guy that worked for Vibe, he decided to put the photos together, and it wasn't created in like the normal Photoshop thing, the way it was done in. It was a composition of like four different images, like the medieval painting and all that stuff, where the king was in the thinking position. So it was set up like Death Row was this house of secrets. And the way they saw it and shot it was kind of how it was. And there was a lot of tension going on at that time. A lot of people weren't really happy with how things was going, but the company was successful. But a lot of rumblings was happening. And you saw people's anxiety, and you could feel it. And you can cut the tension with a knife. And that's where, Kevin Powell was pretty much in his interview. It was revealing some of the inner workings of what was going on with the mysterious, society like they got going on over there. But things are starting to show on people's faces. Like Snoop seemed very disinterested in doing the interview or the photo shoot. He just really seemed unconnected, as he's seen not wearing the Death Row chain in his photo shoot. When this magazine was out, people was wondering about that. Like, where's Snoop Death Row chain? So when all of these things are going down and trickling around, everybody just was so focused on Tupac. This is Tupac's coming out party. California Love has already been burning up. It's hot. Everybody's waiting to hear the rest of the album. Pac only had one verse. One verse. California Love song is more about the music than anything else. The lyrics is only like two verses. Dre got like three verses to the song. He muted his vocals. Put Tupac one verse on the record, and then they just let it ride. Now, during this whole process, Snoop was kind of disconnected. Dre was the visionary. Tupac had the charisma. Snoop was charming. He could talk to anybody smooth. Suge was the muscle. That's just how it was. They were the main four of the unit. But here's the thing. When you bring in a fourth and that person has a large charisma and the muscle who you've all respected is more drawn to the charisma, the vision, and the charm, is not going to be happy. That's going to, because now the charisma feels that he can be the vision. He's charming also. And the muscle is going to see that I probably don't need the rest of them, but I do because they've already been here and they're already making money. So I know I need them, but I love this charisma. I love that energy. I love it. Now, something happened right after the magazine released this. Less than a month later, Dr. Dre was gone. So the tension was already there. A lot of people saw the magazine. They saw the one cover and they had like the main 8 people in there and they put Danny Boy in there. And they were like, man, they put Danny Boy in there like that over the Lady of Rage? And it was like the Lady of Rage was being edged out. And they wasn't really trying to push her at that time. The Lady of Rage was supposed to be way out there when she had Afro Puff. Everybody's like, man, we waiting on Rage to drop. And then Lady of Rage and Pac kind of didn't buy the way everybody thought they should. And he respected her as far as the way she talked to him, but he was just like, you the weakest one on the team. Like, you supposed to be, I got to get somebody, because she wasn't going along with his war plan. Pac was acting like he ran the place, and she wasn't with that, which I've already spoke about on that. But Dre didn't like the fact that I did all this, I built this whole thing and got it to this point. Here comes Tupac, and during the whole process of working on that, it was just stressful for him. And he just reached the point like, look, it's all these crazy people here now, all these gangsters hanging around, and you sign an artist without even talking to me. I was supposed to sign the artist, me. And now you signing the artist, that wasn't the agreement that we had when we came into this partnership. And Suge is telling Dre, like, we finna be rich. What are you crying for? You get your money, I'm getting my money, we good. So he wanted out. So they said they came to an agreement on the 50% shares, like he bought Dre out. There was no buy. So all the money was gonna go to Suge. And Dre was like, you can have it. I'm out. So that cover led to a whole bunch of stuff. Daz and Corrupt was always in the picture, dude. So Daz and Corrupt was never ever a person that was gonna have to suffer any of the consequences because they were the production. Daz was great. Daz produced so many records that he didn't get paid for. That was the biggest travesty. Daz should have been a multi-millionaire. Think about all the hits Daz put out. I mean, if you think about all that, and you'd be like, man, Daz did that. You'd be like, yeah, that's Daz. Corrupt them, they worked back then. Back then they were working, but you know, things wasn't popping the way he wanted to. Corrupt fell in love. It's man, so much stuff that was going on. You just have no idea. Because Corrupt left like I want to say like right after that. So I think before Dre left, Corrupt had left like right after this. I want to say probably before Dre made it official. Corrupt was out. And him and Pac had that fight in Cabo and all that stuff. I think Dre left or was getting ready to leave, and they was keeping that quiet before it went public. Then they thought Corrupt was probably finna join Dre. But he was going, he had proposed to Foxy and wanted to go to the East Coast. He's from the East Coast. So he was going to move out there. So he wanted out. So that was it. Then, Snoop stayed. Like, I'ma stay. Everybody leaving, I'm staying. Snoop ain't had no choice. Snoop couldn't move. Snoop had to stay right in position because if Snoop leave, now you really got problems. Plus, Snoop wanted to go before any of them. He was really unhappy with the whole Tupac situation because all the attention was going towards Tupac. What about him? But Death Row paid for his trial, so he kind of felt like I owed him to stay. And then when the Dog Father didn't blow, it did like 2 million records. That's way below what they thought Snoop album should be selling. And it was like, oh, Snoop done. When the Dog Father album came out, just what it was. That's why, I mean, to show you how tacky it was, he came out, and at that time, it was people who didn't even believe, like, Tupac was even dead. And the way that led into how Snoop, because a lot of you guys weren't alive at the time. So let me tell you, you guys were born after the fact, most of you young people. Let me tell you what was going on during this time. Snoop Dogg had his album come out, The Dog Father. The Dog Father came out maybe about 4 or 5 months after. I don't know when the exact time is. But the Machiavelli album had came out. So now we in the 97. People are still on that Machiavelli album, Hail Mary is like they love that song. So here comes the Dog Father's uh, Snoop Dogg release. They come right off the shelf. The first release was actually the Lady of Rage. They just threw her album out. No promotion, no nothing. I don't even know she got a video. And it was the first album of Death Row not to go platinum. Then the Dog Father album dropped. So now that the Dog Father album dropped, the whole thing in which he did, the Wanted Dead or Alive song that was supposed to be on the Dog Father, that ended up being on the soundtrack. Snoop's in the video. He putting on Pac's jewelry, seemed like out the vault. People thought that was disrespectful. Then during his tour, he's making it like Tupac is still alive, just to get people to come out and see the show. Because a lot of people thought Pac faked his death, and they like he's coming back on the Snoop tour. I mean, really, it was serious like that. People thought Pac faked his death, and he's gonna come back on this tour, flat out. So Nate came in Chicago at the amphitheater. They were promoting it on the radio. Snoop Dogg and a special guest. They start playing the Hail Mary music in the background. And he's bringing a special guest out tonight. Then they were like, oh, Snoop has ordered a cross for the stage. Tupac is going to come out on the cross and they're going to do the Hail Mary song. So they did a tribute song to Hail Mary, and I think he brought out like maybe Spice One or somebody from the special guest. So the people was duped into believing like Tupac was going to come back and be on the show just to sell more tickets to the show. I thought that was tacky. I thought that was really disrespectful and misleading to the people just to sell some tickets. And that just showed me the lack of respect he actually had for Tupac. And that's real. Look, I'm out. You want to hit me up? Hit me up on the Cash App, or you could donate to the page by clicking the link in the description box. Your boy Carcino, I'm out. God bless you all.